What's up, y'all? In this section of the Residential Locksmith Starter Series, we're going to go over Yale, specifically the Yale cylindrical knobs and deadbolts. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, Jason, why are we talking about Yale? That's a commercial product. However, on older homes built from like the 40s all the way up to about the mid 80s, Yale was a direct competitor to Schlage in the residential market, and you could often find cylindrical knobs from Yale on houses because they were pretty much the direct competitor to the Schlage A series. It's pretty much built just like an A series with several modifications to make sure that they were different from each other in several ways. One, you can't use the latch from a Yale onto a Schlage and vice versa because they very specifically made it that way so you wouldn't be swapping locks around and using each other's latches. Yale, as we will see on the keys when we get up to the bench, was very particular about putting on all their products, only use Yale genuine products, including keys, pins, etc., etc. They seriously, out of all the lock companies, really had that marked down as far as what to do, trying to push their own product. Of course, nowadays, we buy Y1 in the 250 count or the 50 count, and it's they're pretty much just as good, honestly. Even though it's still to this day, when you buy Yale products, what's left of the residential market, I might note, we did do a video on the changeover from Yale. They did specifically say the smart lock Yale market, which we all know is the push button locks from Yale. It's kind of a decent push button lock, but there's really no word on what's going to happen in the mechanical Yale department. Commercials change into Aero, and then Yale smart locks, we don't know what, but nobody knows what's going to happen with the new Yale, or I would say Yale from like 2000 on. It's pretty much just copies of like Ace Hardware tubular locks. Kind of hard to say which one's worse, but I don't actually have any of those Yale on hand. I think now the only place you may be able to get them is Walmart, but almost everybody is going with their own brands. In fact, you could probably buy it back in the day at some bigger hardware stores until Ace got their own branding and their own locks going, which is a whole separate video as well. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and take off entry key, no key, the deadbolt, the cylindrical doorknob. I'll show you a tubular knob that I have part of. And then after that, we're going to talk about Yale rim locks. That's right, because that's going to really need its own thing. Rim locks and jimmy-proof deadbolts from Yale were also popularly seen on doors during that time. You may very well run across a knob, a deadbolt, and then a rim lock above it. So let's go ahead and get started. The other difference in the Yale residential cylindrical knobs is you don't have to have a key to turn it to remove the cylinder. Yes, that was one of the best things about it. All you have to do is turn the knob, poke the retainer, and it'll slip off. Whereas with the Schlage A, before Lishies and before all that, if you couldn't pick it, you had to take it apart, which we've done plenty of videos on. However, in the Yale cylindrical world, you don't have to. And that applied up until, well, pretty much all the knobs were that way. You do have to with the levers. And then this is really just a standard tubular deadbolt. However, Yale did use their own kind of weirdo clips and stuff, which we'll see more of when we get into the rim cylinders above. So let's go ahead and take this knob off. It's a little catchy. Typically, once you get the knob off, you can take it all the way apart and tear it down if you want. But again, the only reason to tear down a Schlage A is if you can't get it picked, or if the cylinder's super glued or something, you need to get it apart. Even super glue would probably be a problem because they probably freeze the tailpiece and make it very difficult to turn the cap. But yeah, let's go ahead and get something. We just need a poker tool to poke that. And if it seems to be working fine and just has kind of it just needs a little help, we can just stick a straw down when we get the knob off and hose it, and that lube will get in the chassis. Worst case scenario is we'd have to pop the inside off, which we're going to do for this video just so that we cover all our bases. Alright, so you do have to turn the knob, and it usually helps to have a little flashlight with you so you can shine it down in there and see where the retainer is, because it's going to be turned about a quarter of the way, and it looks like there's the retainer. So I'm going to hold it in position and put my pick in there. This is how Locksmiths break picks. I would highly recommend using your keychain tool or whatever. But this is what I have, so this is what we're going to use. Push it in, pull the pick out, and pull the knob off just like that. Now I will mention, if the cylinder is upside down, you can, when you're putting it back on, you can turn it right side up and slip it in to get it off. Okay, I know you're seeing double in a different color and broken latch, but when I pulled that knob off, I did realize that there is two different styles of cylinder retaining methods and or just period cylinder. So we're going to go ahead and pop this guy off again. No need for a key. We can see it's upside down. When you're putting it back on, it's just as easy to turn it this way and get it on there and slip it in. But this one actually has a different retainer style, and I wanted to show it as well. So that's why you are seeing double right now. On the inside again, we're going to find that hole and turn it one way or another until we can get the knob off. And then typically there is a kind of a spring style retainer right there. Most of the time you can just twist it a little bit and pop it off. These do not have a notch anywhere in them, so it's kind of hard to get a screwdriver in, but sometimes you can just literally pop it off just by putting the screwdriver right there and getting it off. But that's how that comes off. And then of course your two screws, just like any other cylindrical knob. And the dead bolt. There is sometimes on the tubular dead bolts non-removable style screws. We're going to go over that when we do the rim lock, but for right now that'll just give you a reason to go watch that video if you run across the non-removable screws. Just saying, they can be there, especially on the double cylinder versions of these. Let's get them rekeyed. Before we get started rekeying them, I will show you the tubular, the old tubular style. It actually had quick set characteristics, but all in their own way here. So yeah, you can definitely see the similarities there. To take these off, you did have just a retainer on the outside. You did not have to remove the spindle. You would just push in the unlocked position. You would have to turn the knob, and there's a pretty heavy duty. We can actually see this spindle area, or the retainer area. See how it's got a black ring? See that compression ring right there? If you look on this side, you will see right there, I believe. There it is. See it right there. See where you got to push in that. Pretty tough retainer to deal with, but luckily you don't see too many of these alive anymore, so just wanted to show that off. So let's take a look at the two different styles of cylinders that the knobs use. First one is one of the more common that you would see on the commercial side, and that's this kind with this screw cap type retainer. You have to push this little clip off right there and yank it, and then just unscrew this. Don't forget your little washer right there. So there is a washer that is absolutely needed. So when you take these guys off, make sure you grab that too so you don't lose it. And then the other style was what you normally would think of when you have a Oh, tubular. Oh, come on now. Let's see if we can get this guy off. Go around this way. All right, let's see. How can we get this guy off? Let's try this. Okay, need I don't have the screwdriver that I need over here. Okay, it's coming. Definitely don't want to go digging in because it will leave a mark. So, oh, there we go. Hey, we're getting somewhere. Nice and rusty, but it's your standard cylinder. Now, it looks like we do need to rotate this guy to get this out, because as you can see, there's an opening right there where the clip will come out. That means we need to turn the lock, which means you do need the key. Don't need to get it off the door, but you do need it to do that. And I don't even know, we may be solidly locked up on this guy since it obviously has not had a key in a while. Oh no, that's pretty good. Okay. So what can you do to get around that? Well, that cap will come off right there. Not easily, but it will come off. So let's just say you've tried picking it for whatever reason and you're not able to. We can take this cap off. It's actually pretty loose on there. So we're going to get under here. See if we can't grab an edge. If not, well, did I? Yep, there we go. I did almost get it. We're just going to pry that up. There we go. We got 4 pins. Supposed to be 5. Oh, there goes one. Alright, so what we have here is an exposed portion on it. It looks like where the retainer would come out, and if you turn it just right there, you can see it has this retainer, but that retainer is really, really hard to get out. You can get in here maybe and like force it out, but it is usually almost always better to just top load the chamber instead of trying to force that guy out. It's been a long time since I've seen one of these, so we're just going to top load this guy. If you were doing another, what I would do is take apart one of the deadbolts. So let's go ahead and move over to the deadbolt. That way you kind of know what the bitting is by taking apart a regular lock and being able to see. So on the deadbolts, we have this kind of funny clip right there. You just take a screwdriver, flip the clip up, and then slide it out just like that. And make sure you see how this is kind of a like half moon shape, and there's a flat side. That flat needs to go towards the bottom, and then it's got this little guy. Same thing as like an American padlock to keep you from reaching through and making and like being able to twist that around somehow. So let's go ahead and get this guy shimmed and keyed up, and then I'm going to show you another style of deadbolt towards the end, just in case you run across one of those. So we need a shimmaroo. Do we have one? There's one. May not need a trimming. All right, there's 5. 4, 3. I think it just went past 2. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Nope. Okay, I'm going to back it out a little bit and just go for that 2 again since it like zoomed right by. Okay, there's 2 for sure. And 1. And let's shim this guy as well while we're doing it. Okay, are we gonna have to shim trim? Nope. Okay, there we go. Yep, there's 5. There's 4. Yep, there's 3. 2, and turn, turn, turn. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. All right. So, since we had a knob and a deadbolt, we'll just go ahead and rekey the deadbolt. Now, if you look at the back of the cutout, it's where's a plug follower here? Here we go. Even a hollow follower, most of them won't go over that, so you're going to have a gap. Now, the best, safest thing to do would be to shim it and use that as a bridge. The most dangerous way to do it would be to line up that with the Bible and follow it out. Just make sure not to turn while you're doing it. All right, let's use these keys. And again, always use genuine Yale keys. Oh look, we got 2 already the same there. We're going to dump it. Always dump it just in case they're worn out. All right, so we're going to put the bitting or the pin and chart up here. Looks like we have a pretty deep cut. Let's go 258 to start off with. That would be 4. Yeah. 4, and then that's a deep cut. Let's go 7. Now, I will mention when you're using aftermarket and some Armalite stuff, you really can't go below like 6 because the pin will actually stop on the warding in the keyway. So you kind of got to be careful with that, and you'll know obviously because it won't drop down too far. So we're good. Let's see, that last one looks like a 4 too. Nope. 3, which is 240. And then 2 maybe, which should be 219. There we go. So that was 258, 315, 276, 219, and then 240. So we're going to go ahead and put this back together. And let us top load this guy. So that would be, what did I say? 258, 315, drop down in the chamber. Yep. 276. 240 at the end. And 219. If you did not know it, if like this was your only one that you were doing, just load one at a time. But we're going to hope this works. Alright, we're actually going to use these same top pins, are we? Maybe. 2. Yeah, we didn't have very many though, did we? 3, 4, 5. Short little springs there. All I've got's long springs here, so let me get my, well, let's go, oh, actually I do have some short ones. Hey. Okay, let's check that. Yeah. All right, again though, if you didn't have another one to go by, you may just have to go one at a time. Kind of like a Euro style cylinder. Okay, got that one done. We're going to go ahead and key this one up real quick to the same key. Yep. You get out. 276, 240s. Oh, get out of there. 258. 276. 315. Oh, that's not a 315. And 219. All right, we're going to lube this guy because it was a little bit funky. Now, unlike Schlage A, these are kind of hard to take apart and get back together. You would, looks like that one's already bent, but yeah, it needs to go back in. Basically, to take these apart, you'd come up and under here and bend this guy out and then lift it off. But these two plates just fall apart. Everything kind of falls apart, so you only want to take these apart in worst case scenarios, because it will kind of what quote blow up on you. So we're gonna actually pin this back down. There we go. Yeah. Oh, lube immensely helped it, didn't it? All right, we got that. Let's put this guy back together as well. Make sure and remember your little cover guy. Make sure the flat goes on the bottom, and then run this through on the underside, and then flip it down. There we go. Got that one done. Double cylinder, pretty much kind of like a Schlage deadbolt, where it's got a half moon and a flat side, and the two flats go to each other. So when you're putting one of these double cylinders back on the door, extend the bolt and do that, because just like with Schlage, the tailpieces turn a certain way. In fact, see, this one's kind of sluggish right here. Houdini fixes everything, right? There we go. So you would have it in the middle. So you stop, and then put it in the middle. Extend the bolt, run the outside through, and then run your inside through with the flat to the flat. Uses the same latch, so that's how you would get that back together. All right, let's see if this guy will go back together well. Whew, so rusty. All right, we're gonna put that in there. Smush this cap down. Maybe. Get your hammer. Nope, make sure your plug stays right. We're gonna put the key in and hold it. One good reason to have a soft-handled screwdriver. Okay. We're good. And let's see, it's latches on that side, so We're gonna slip this guy on just like that, guiding the cylinder in. Oh, came right back off, didn't it? Didn't go all the way in. Yep, I think it clicked there. Yeah. Nope, still didn't click. All right. Haha. Good whack. Never hurts anything. All right, washer. Screw. Cap. You want to tighten it all the way down and then back it off a turn or two until one of these lines up right there. So we're going to tighten down. We're going to back it up a little bit. Hey, obligatory siren. All right, make sure this clips down just like that. And we're going to try our key. Ooh, he's flying. That was ambulance. Make sure the key comes out. If it does not come out, that means this is too loose. You need to tighten it down one more turn. If the key doesn't turn, that means it's too tight and you need to loosen it one turn. And again, this just slips right on the doorknob. Lastly, you do have some oddball, real old stuff, and it does use a different retainer for the clips. They're like the first version, I guess it would be. Severely rusted up, so that's probably going to be a little bit problematic. And also it's flat. The tail pieces are super flat on both sides. The same theory would go through. You would extend the bolt and do that. But first off, I typically will grab my face cap pliers, which are handy even if you don't do automotive, because it can do things like this. We're just going to squeeze, 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 and get a super thin screwdriver and just kind of whack it there a couple of times until we see the notch, and then just pull it straight out. Now on these, the circle part is up on top, so different from those. Ooh, that sucker's in there, isn't it? Okay. That may be a little problematic. Let's see if we can break that rust seal. Just like that. And again, uses, that needs to be probably flattened. So it's pretty much the same thing. They just redesigned it a little bit. But when you're putting it back together, the flat would go up on top of that one. Doesn't matter which way, you can go vertical or the other way. I'm just gonna squeeze that. Sometimes these get kind of spread apart. Like, there we go. Okay, check it. We wanna come in, make sure your teeth, as always, make sure the little teeth right there grab where they're supposed to. So, shoot, just like that. Looks like we're gonna push in a little bit, and boom. Now remember, there is an adjustment. Check your teeth. If the door is thick or thin or whatever, any of these with screw rosettes, screw it in for a thinner door, screw it back for a thicker door. Always make sure you're not covering the retainer. Some locks have the absolutely infuriating ability to be tightened down, and when you flip the knob on, the retainer gets covered. Mostly in commercial stuff, but considering these are kind of commercial locks in a way. Oh, where's my screwdriver? Okay, for this, I guess we're going to use the Vessel non-slip grip. There is a cutout in the rosette here. Make sure that cutout goes where the spring is. After you tighten it down, of course. Hey, working a lot better. All right, see where your spring is? It's right there. So line up that, hook it over the top opposite the spring. Wait, where'd the spring go? Right there. Boom. Nope. Hook it over the top and then boom. Make sure it snaps on right. Looks good. And then just slip your knob in. Where'd my knob go? And we're gonna, I don't know where the retainer's on this side. There we go. Check it. Tell the customer they need to take the tape off. Looking good. And lastly, we want to put the deadbolt on. And again, just my way of doing it is to put in and to flip out the latch before you engage it. So I'm going to use the tailpiece from the lock to flip it out. Of course, spray it down with Houdini. Turn your tailpiece vertical because it goes to 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock. And just slip it in the center position. Hold it as best you can that way. Make sure you are putting it on up the right side up right correctly, because there definitely is a up and a down on all of these. So dupe and then dupe, and we're gonna turn this just enough. Yep, we're gonna have to take these screws out so the thumb turn will turn. Some of them are like that. Some of them you can do with it in spot, but turn that back around and withdraw. Put that in, put this in, and then using your fingers from the outside of the door, just like that, and kind of wiggling it back and forth. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle until you feel the screw engage. Snug it, not tight, just get it snug. Do your other screw. Wiggle, 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 and snug. And snug. And then come back and snug that one more time. Okay, I didn't lubricate it, but that does not mean you shouldn't, because I just don't want to waste the lube on it. Check the key. Oh, that's a little tight. See how tight that is? So what we're going to do now is we're going to loosen this back up. Okay, I'm going to check it. Really needs the lubricant, but we'll just pretend. I'm actually kind of running low on Houdini right now, so I don't want to use it unnecessarily. But Houdini will clear up that problem. And check it. There we go. That is, that's it on the Yale deadbolt and doorknob. So, if you have any questions or comments, make sure and post them in the comments section. The next thing will definitely be the rim locks, because that's yet another Yale that you're going to run across. Appreciate y'all watching. Catch you next video.